Interesting stuff still, though. All right. Moving on. Next item on the list. This is from GameSpot, written up by, I'll tell you here in just a second, Kevin Nezovich over at GameSpot. It says, Epic addresses Fortnite crossplay matchmaking complaints, but isn't changing anything. Said, the article reads, ahead of Fortnite Season 11, which kicks off in just a few days, developer Epic Games is tweaking the way matchmaking works. In the hit battle royale, tweaking the way matchmaking works in the hit battle royale game. Although not all of these changes have been warmly received. In particular, many in the community have expressed concerns over the fact the game now pairs players from different platforms together, potentially giving those on certain platforms an advantage. In a new post on the official Fortnite website, Epic addresses these concerns, although it appears the developer is holding firm on its changes. Quote, with the rollout, we've seen a lot of discussion about potentially unfair competitive advantages from pooling players together across platforms and input devices. That's the thing you want to keep in mind here. The new matchmaking system, however, accounts for various skill levels across different platforms and control inputs and groups players of similar levels together, end quote. The developer continues, quote, our goal with the new matchmaking system is to create fair matches for all of our players, which includes special considerations for each platform. This means that where similar skill exists, players may be paired against opponents from all platforms, whether they're using mouse and keyboard, a controller, or touch input. We are closely monitoring match analytics and your feedback and will make adjustments to ensure everyone is playing a fair match, end quote. So this is interesting. We talked about, I think this was last week on the Nightly Rundown, Fortnite rolling out this skill-based matchmaking system that they're hoping is going to make games more competitive. At the same time, they're adding bots that'll be available to play with on lower level games. But what I find most interesting about this is within this matchmaking system, when you're playing cross-platform, it's not taking into consideration your means of input. And so if you look at a game like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the way that their crossplay works is if you are playing with a controller, you are only going to be matched up with other users who are playing with a controller. And you can't mix your parties to where you've got some people playing on mouse and keyboard and some people playing on controller. And it makes sense because they're supporting mouse and keyboard on all platforms that Modern Warfare is going to be released on. So you can play with your mouse and keyboard with your PC friends if you're on Xbox because it's going to support it. And the whole reason for that is there is a level of accuracy that can be achieved with a mouse that cannot be achieved with, which, put it this way, theoretically cannot be achieved with a controller. But what Epic is saying, the way that they're saying the matchmaking is intended to work is we're going to pull everybody together, regardless of the platform that you're playing on and your input preferences, which I think is really interesting considering that they have Fortnite on phone and they mentioned touch input on here. So you can potentially have matches where somebody playing with a mouse and keyboard is being matched up against somebody who is playing on their phone with their touch input. And it's all based off of your skill level with whatever input device you decide to play with. And so I guess you can assume that if you are a mouse and keyboard player and you get into a match and you realize, oh, I'm playing with a bunch of people who are playing on their touch screen, you probably really fucking suck at this game. I don't know. I think I see the hesitancy to want a system that puts everybody together regardless of input. We have been conditioned to say like, oh man, playing on mouse and keyboard gives you an advantage over playing with a controller. And yes, that is right in a vacuum. If you put two people, if you have the same guy and he's like same skill level, same game awareness, same mechanical skills, and you let him play 100 hours on keyboard, 100 hours on controller, that individual is going to be better with the mouse and keyboard. Just no doubt. Like in a vacuum, the mouse and keyboard is a far greater advantage than a controller. But your mechanical skills and your input device are only a part of what makes up your skill level at a game. It's all those other things too. It's about inventory management. It's about awareness. It's about decision making. And so you remove people from that vacuum and the scale starts to tip. If I am a console player who plays with a controller on Fortnite, but I have really, really great awareness, really, really great decision making, and I manage my inventory really, really well, I am probably going to be able to outplay somebody who is playing on a mouse and keyboard who does not have those things. And so I think what Epic is trying to say is that the skill-based matchmaking is an aggregate of everything. Like an averagely successful person on controller is still going to be able to beat an under average performing player on mouse and keyboard. And it'll ultimately suss itself out and over time, because your input device is only a portion of what makes you a good player or not. Take for instance, okay, I'll give you this example. I've played for almost 2,000 hours at this point of Overwatch across PS4, Xbox One, and PC. The game released in 2016. I bought my computer the day after New Year's, so the game had been out for almost 3 years before I ever had a chance to play it on PC. I am a higher rank on Xbox than I am on PC because there's also a skill gap in my familiarity with playing with mouse and keyboard, and it took a lot of getting used to become effective playing with a mouse and keyboard. I still don't feel like I'm that great at it, whereas I've been playing on a controller since I was 5 years old. And so there's a skill gap in me as an individual. Like, that is the vacuum. The vacuum is it's the same exact game that I have, that you play the same exact way, same exact strategy, but yet I've been playing one with my controller, which has been my means of playing for 25 years, and one with mouse and keyboard that I've been doing for about 6 months at this point, and I'm better with the controller. So I don't think people should lose their minds over the fact that, we're being grouped together because, we all play with controllers. Now, if they didn't have some sort of matchmaking, like, I don't know if this is a visible score or a background score to talk about for your skill level. If they didn't have that, and it was just like, we're bringing everybody in, we're lumping you all together, it doesn't really matter, I think you have a gripe there. But it seems like they've developed this matchmaking system in mind with those kind of like natural advantages you're going to get from a mouse and keyboard. They're well aware of that. So yeah, we'll see how this pans out. I don't see it as a big deal. I see where Epic is coming from with the way that they expect this to work. I'd love to hear from some actual Fortnite players about how they feel about it, because I also know that building's a big thing in Fortnite, and that I think is way easier for PC players than it is for players on mouse and keyboard players than it is for controller-based players. Or just allow people to say they only want to play, like add the option in, like, hey, I only want to be able to play with people who are using the same input device as me. But at the end of the day, like, we're all just playing for fun, man. Who fucking cares? 99.9% of us will never make a dime playing Fortnite.